Well, there are different things to be said about this. I mean, first of all, how many psychiatric residents, who are the people who come most in contact with schizophrenics, whatever that means, how many psychiatric residents have ever seen an undrugged schizophrenic? Very, very few, because the very first thing that happens is, for the convenience of physicians and the nursing staff, some outlandish drug is brought into the picture, which then deflects this healing process from ever reaching any kind of natural conclusion. Schizophrenia is just a catch-all term for mental forms of mental behavior that we don't understand. In the 19th century, there was a term, melancholia. My theory on crop circles is quite simply that it's because when you go to these crop circles and actually see what it's like to be there, you see, here's what you see. You see the crop circles, amazing. You see a few ragtag British freaks wandering around scratching their heads, and you see a shitload of Japanese tourists. Well, then when you look at world media, you see that the Japanese media pays incredible attention to these things. And I think they are a covert operation run by MIDI, the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Quite obviously, this is an experiment in the semiotics of brand recognition. And all over England, there are roving bands of Japanese tourists who, at the snap of a Nikon, rush into the fields, and from a tradition of centuries of ninja stem snapping, they produce these things, Johnny quick, and then put their Nikons back on.
I don't understand why MIDI would be behind this, but what's the benefit of it?
They're studying the Western mind and its relationship to brand. Symbols. These are symbols. People say they're communications. Well, they're a shit-brained form of communication because they don't communicate anything, for God's sake. I mean, what kind of communication is it that doesn't communicate? So, and a number of people have behaved very oddly around the crop circles. I mean, for example, the other thing you see when you go to southern England is, my God, there are RAF bases everywhere, and nuclear weapons bunkers, and cruise missiles, and this and that, and you're asked to believe that the Ministry of Defense is utterly sanguine about the fact that the airspace of England is being violated night after night by a mysterious agency that is, if you can snap the stem of a wheat stalk, you can throw the switch on a machine. The Ministry of Defense would go crazy if this were real. One theory Rupert and I came up with is, it's called the out on a limb theory, which is, it is possible that inside MI5, which is British intelligence, there is a certain amount of concern about the growth of new age ideas in England. And so the idea is to lure these people out onto a limb, wilder and wilder statements about Gaian messages and the telluric forces of the earth and so forth and so on. And then once every nut in England has signed on to this phenomenon, you just hold a demonstration, bring on your jumpsuited team of crop circle makers and say, we, MI5, we did it. And you people should now all find honest work because your level of credibility is now exposed as basically close to zero. But I like the Japanese idea.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think the cattle mutilations of a few years ago in the States were also a Japanese project. I mean, it had all the Japanese and American elements. You know, the lonely American prairie with its brooding sense of strong men working evil. And then,
Japanese love of animal mutilation, shiny blades, mysterious pattern. It's...
That might be a good test of the Star Wars system.
People have suggested that, although again, you would think that kids in Western Siberia doing it at Glastonbury doesn't do anything.
They wouldn't get any status and recognition that way. I mean, they blast England. You get some recognition.
The human mind is incredibly perverse, I know, because I have and real mysteries can take enormous pressure.
Which we would now call bipolar depression, so forth and so on. But all forms of sadness, unhappiness, maladaptation, so forth and so on, were poured into this label melancholia. Now, schizophrenia is a similar thing. I can remember an experience I had years ago. I was in the Tolman Library at the University of California, which is the psych library, and I was looking up some drug or something, and I just saw a book, and I pulled it off the shelf, a book about schizophrenia, and it said the typical schizophrenic lives in a world of twilight imagining, marginal to his society, incapable of holding a regular job. These people live on the fringes, content to drift in their own self-created value system. That's it. That's it. Now I understand. We have no tradition of shamanism. We have no tradition of journeying into these mental worlds. We are terrified of madness. We fear it because the Western mind is a house of cards, and the people who built that house of cards know that, and they are terrified of madness. Tim Leary once said, or I gave him credit for saying, he later told me he never said it, but whoever said it, this was a brilliant statement. Someone once said, LSD is a psychedelic substance which occasionally causes psychotic behavior in people who have not taken it. Right? And I would bet you that more people have exhibited psychotic behavior from not taking LSD but just thinking about it than ever exhibited it from taking it. Certainly in my family, I watched my parents both go psychotic from the mere fact that LSD existed. They would never have taken it. There is a great phobia about the mind. The Western mind is very queasy when first principles are questioned. Rarer than corpses in this society are the untreated mad, because we can't come to terms with that. A shaman is someone who swims in the same ocean as a schizophrenic, but the shaman has thousands and thousands of years of sanctioned technique and tradition to draw upon. In a traditional society, if you exhibit quote-unquote schizophrenic tendencies, you are immediately drawn out of the pack and put under the care and tutelage of master shamans. You are told you are special. Your abilities are very central to the health of our society. You will cure, you will prophesy, you will guide our society in its most fundamental decisions. Contrast this with what a person exhibiting schizophrenic activity in our society is told. They're told, you don't fit in. You are becoming a problem. You don't pull your own weight. You are not of equal worth to the rest of us. You are sick. You have to go to the hospital. You have to be locked up. You are on a par with prisoners and lost dogs in our society. So that treatment of schizophrenia makes it incurable. Imagine if you were slightly odd and the solution were to take you and lock you into a place where everyone was seriously mad. That would drive anyone mad. If you've ever been in a madhouse, you know that it's an environment calculated to make you crazy and to keep you crazy. This would never happen in an Aboriginal or traditional society. I wrote a book, this has to be the wrap-up because we're over time, but I wrote a book called The Archaic Revival. I've signed it tonight for some of you. The idea there is that we have gone sick by following a path of untrammeled rationalism, male dominance, attention to the visible surface of things, practicality, bottom lineism. We have gone very, very sick. And the body politic, like any body, when it feels itself to be sick, it begins to produce antibodies or strategies for overcoming the condition of dis-ease. And the 20th century is an enormous effort at self-healing. Phenomena as diverse as surrealism, body piercing, psychedelic drug use, sexual promiscuousness, jazz, experimental dance, rave culture, tattooing. The list is endless. What do all these things have in common? They represent various styles of rejection of linear values. The society is trying to cure itself by an archaic revival, by a reversion to archaic values. Would you tease apart these archaic impulses? At the very center of all these impulses is the desire to return to a world of magical empowerment of feeling. And at the center of that impulse is the shaman, stoned, intoxicated on plants, speaking with the spirit helpers, dancing in the moonlight, and vivifying and invoking a world of conscious living mystery. That's what the world is. The world is not an unsolved problem for scientists or sociologists. The world is a living mystery. Our birth, our death, our being in the moment. These are mysteries. They are doorways opening on to unimaginable vistas of self-exploration, empowerment, and hope for the human enterprise. And our culture has killed that, taken it away from us, made us consumers of shoddy products and shoddier ideals. We have to get away from that, and the way to get away from it is by a return to the authentic experience of the body, and that means sexually empowering ourselves, and it means getting loaded, exploring the mind as a tool for personal and social transformation. The hour is late, the clock is ticking. We will be judged very harshly if we fumble the ball. We are the inheritors of millions and millions of years of successfully lived lives and successful adaptations to changing conditions in the natural world. Now the challenge passes to us, the living, that the yet-to-be-born may have a place to put their feet and a sky to walk under. And that's what the psychedelic experience is about, is caring for, empowering, and building a future that honors the past, honors the planet, and honors the power of the human imagination. There is nothing as powerful, as capable of transforming itself and the planet as the human imagination. Let's not sell it straight. Let's not whore ourselves to nitwit ideologies. Let's not give our control over to the least among us. Rather, claim your place in the sun and go forward into the light. The tools are there. The path is known. You simply have to turn your back on a culture that has gone sterile and dead and get with the program of a living world and a re-empowerment of the imagination. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you.